folks, Meandering Mike, Man Cave of Madness. Today is October the 4th. This is our 24-hour mystery box game jam design contest. This is the package that had come from the Game Crafter. This was in it, of course, folded up and protected nice with more paper. And these are the components that are part of the quote-unquote game box. They didn't actually come in a box inside the answer box. All right. I actually ordered 2 sets, which is fine by the rules of the contest because you must use at least one of each of the different kinds of things that are in here. You can add any other stuff you want, which can include multiple of the same things. So I can add stuff. So what are these? These are appear to be dry erase style hex tiles. It's glossy. I'm assuming that can dry erase. I don't think I will dry erase. I think I will keep them, permanent marker, what I use for them. And then let's look at all what came in this. We all did as on a Discord for the group. We all unboxed our stuff live together there to make sure that everyone got stuff and hadn't peeked at the contents yet. So there are these what I call octagonal cylinders, or octo boxes, as some people call them. There's 10 of those. So those of you familiar with, coin system games, there's a lot of those that use these octagonal wooden pieces. There are simple black wooden cubes. I think there's 10 of those. I won't sort through everything. There's these gem crystal type things. There's 10 of those. These are supposed to be purple gemstones. They're those, glass bead kind of things, kind of flat bottom, kind of like a gumdrop or something like that. There are these, I'm going to tilt down a little better here so you can see all that stuff splayed out there. These, I'm assuming because they're red, are like blood drops, but they could be water drops or tears, but they are red. So my first thought is, blood. So that's either tracking like health for a character or a monster or something, or I thought back to Vampire Masquerade, the card game. These could be blood, where you try to collect and preserve the blood as part of your vampire clan stuff. So that's some of my thoughts. So do I do a vampire game, or do I do some kind of a dungeon or wilderness crawl where these track the health or life or damage on characters or monsters or something? Who knows? There is one specialty die in here. There were no other dice. Now we can add stuff. There was no generic dice. There's this one die that has swords and like bangs, explosions. There's one blank side. There's some with just a single explosion or a single sword. There's one that has 3 swords, 2 swords in a splat, 1 and 1. All right. So you have to figure out, that's some kind of combat die or something. How to use that? What's the sword versus the splat or not? Is that magic versus melee? For getting hits or something like that. I don't know. And there are these keys. There are. All right. Something's missing here. There is supposed to be a door, a hinged door. Either I left it in the other room there when I picked these stuff up, or one of my sets is missing one. Okay, here, I'll open this one. So I'm hoping I just left it in there. Missing, but a hinged door. It actually works. So between the keys and the hinged door, some thoughts are like some kind of dungeon crawl, right? Now, you could do a wilderness crawl, the tires, and then this represents the door to a dungeon or something. So thoughts are stirring in my head. Those are obviously gemstones or some kind of loot potentially. These could represent most anything. They're purple or that. They could. Same with these. So that's kind of wide open, but keys are keys, and you got a door. Now, you see some stuff over here. Of course, first thing I started thinking about, what are these? My first thought, of course, is, oh, this is a tile laying game. You've got hexagonal tiles, and you're going to lay them. Then I thought, well, there was no cards included in this. You could use these as a deck of cards instead. Okay? You could make a card game. Now, what would all this stuff be? It could be some kind of tracking or something, and part of the card play is to accumulate certain resources or spend certain resources. So this could be cards instead of tiling, or it could be both. There's 50 of these, right? So you could split these up. Now, again, I actually have 2 sets, so I can easily go up to 100 if I want to. By the rules of the game jam, you have to use at least one of each of these different type of things. You're going to have to use this. You're going to have to use a door. But you could use just one of these. You could use this as, you write some graphic, or you could turn this into a spinner somehow, or, it could be some tracking chart or whatever. You could decide to say, nah, that's not going to be I'm going to use all these other things, but you're going to be judged on how you integrate the components, featuring them in your design. And so, given that there's 50 of these, to not use these as major parts of the mechanisms of the game would probably detract from that notion of how well are you integrating this stuff. But again, tiling could be cards, could be places to track stuff, or there could be things, to auction. This could be money. This could be like gold bars. This could be emeralds, and maybe you put things on here, that you buy keys, you buy, stuff or something. I don't know. There's my brain is going. I'm trying to not just think, oh, it's got to be a dungeon crawl, right? Because maybe there are a whole bunch of people going to do that. But now back to this. What are things that could supplement this? Now, I want to go back to one of my thoughts was this makes me think of vampires, all right? So maybe my central character is a vampire, all right? And you're needing to gain blood, preserve blood. So you're out hunting, you're doing something. And so, what else could I add to the game? These could be like, traps. You could be exploring or going around the countryside or in a dungeon or in a city. Okay, cities aren't usually in hexagonal layout, but you can make it work. This could be like a trap. A silver sword, a silver dagger, that could actually damage you and make you lose blood. Same thing here, silver arrow, silver tipped arrow. Now, vampires typically in the lore are not hurt by flame, but maybe this is like, this flame blocks the space, and maybe they have to spend a whole turn clearing it if they want to keep going this route as opposed to going some other direction. So I was thinking again that the vampire, if the vampire is the central character, what is he hunting? And I found in my components the video that I did last week on my game design supplies. Well, I had some priests of different colors. There's orange priests, and I've got orange meeples. So this could be a priest. These could be his flock. These could show up in various, places on the board, and the vampire's trying to get the citizens, the meeples, by themselves so he can suck their blood, whereas let's say the priests would repel him, and if the meeples get into the spaces with the priests, they're safe. And I've got multiple color ones, so I could have maybe 2 different flocks. Like these guys are protected by these and those, but maybe they don't protect each other. Maybe these guys don't protect those, or vice versa, something like that. And of course, I went and found, I'm going to put it out here where you can see that these are locks. If you got keys, there's 5 keys. Of course, the idea is the key maybe goes, well, maybe, you need something else to get through this. Maybe the vampire needs to get the full blood power to, transcend to the next realm, or enter the depths where he can rest in peace or something. I don't know. And maybe these keys hide some treasure. So you find a location that has a key in it. you got to go out, or excuse me, a lock. You have to go find a key, and then you can unlock that, and then you can reveal what kind of treasure or something there is. Whether it's these green crystals, or maybe those are gold ingots, or maybe these purple whatever they are, or maybe this can represent spell power or something. Maybe there's allies for the vampires. I have these weird, I guess, maybe sorceress type characters or something, and maybe they're the source of purple magic, that if the vampire goes and visits the square, maybe he can get one of these, or somehow these might, once discovered, these might generate the purple power, and that oozes out in the vampire. Maybe that makes the vampire move faster, or maybe the vampire is in mist form right now and he needs to reconstitute, and he needs to somehow get more power before he can get to the point where he's corporeal enough to start sucking blood or something. I don't know. Ideas, right? Many different ideas. I do have also read one of those same priestesses. I got some little Buddha guys. So maybe I instead say we've got, one Buddha, one sorceress, or maybe this represents some other religion, Zoroastrianism or something. We got Christianity, we got Buddhism, which is more philosophy than a religion. But how does the vampire approach those or not? And maybe in different lores, the different religious figures affect them differently. I've got some just gold stars, silver stars. Can you see those? So I don't know if those might be something behind the locked treasures. It's some kind of level up or something. I got these question mark things. Maybe in some areas you mark certain tiles, to show that there's some kind of fog of war, or you have to do something to be able to see what's there. I don't know. And I've got these feet. I was trying to figure out how to use these. Maybe these feet cause these meeples to wander to them or from them or something. I don't know. Or it's a clue. If you enter a place with a foot, that you can then do an extra move to another tile or something. Ideas. And I've got these little, I'm going to pull one out. These little demon pet things. I hate when these, well, you can see them there, pointy-eared demons. So, brainstorming. That's the phase that we're in here. We're brainstorming. And again, if I add too much outside stuff, that'll dilute the main components here, right? But where they complement it, so like these locks, I think are a good idea. You got keys and maybe lock, and you just don't need a key to get in the door, but you need keys to open locks, and you need something else to eventually open the door. This can be the exit, this can be the entrance. Now, the fact that I have two sets, now, of course, like I said, I couldn't find the other door for one of these, so I'm assuming it's back in the other room where I open these. I got to go find that to see if I have two doors, all right? So, I don't know. So that's the state where this is way longer than I wanted to be. I wanted this to be 10 minutes or under. We're at 13 and a half minutes now. So this is the state we're at here. I'll do an update maybe every fewish hours, once I've got something. And, who knows? I might try a couple of different ways to do it. Is it going to be the vampires a character, or it's Halloween? Let's hunt, monsters. And so, maybe these will be the blood loss on the monsters or the character or something. I don't know. Now, if I'm doing that vampire thing, there's no avatar at this point. There's no, you don't necessarily need a vampire character on the board, right? You could be tracking, you point to a tile to flip it over to show it's there, and maybe I don't know, we could use these or these to show the trail that the vampire's going over. You put one down, and that might, you can backtrack along that route faster, or something like that. I don't know. So call it here. It's at 15 minutes. Meandering Mike, meandering through the game ideas, brainstorming, all that stuff. We'll be back. So, ciao, y'all.